to accept the supplementary reports. So have you got that? Yeah, it's items 5 and item 23. So is there a motion? Eh? Oh, okay. So it's just a. Sorry, the motion to accept the supplementary report.
Yeah, no, sorry, it was
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was just the updated one, so that was just separately circulated, so we don't need that.
You don't need a motion.
No,
Right. Sorry, we don't require a motion. So we will move now to item 5, which is the Acting Chief Executive Office report, and I will hand over to Jane Harper.
Thank you, Leanne. This is the second of these reports, as you know. What I have done is make any updates in red so that it's easy to track. But I think Leanne said to you last time, must have been a couple of weeks ago, that this was a bit of a work in progress and we would improve as we go. What we've decided to do is split the report into two, with essentially Section 2 on rebuild and recovery going to the Committee of the Whole, and the rest coming to this regular council meeting, so that a month goes past for each one and the updates make more sense. So having said that, I'm just going to take it as read and take any questions.
Okay, well, I'll move the report be received, seconded by the Deputy Mayor, and so I'll open it up for questions. Pauline Cotter.
Thank you, Jane. Just looking at the update on the flood risk in the Dudley, and in red you've put a detailed briefing can be made available to all members. Could we please request one urgently? We've had more flooding last night down there, and that rain was actually quite short-lived. If we have a rain period of several days like we had in June, they'll be out of their homes. And we've had, Ellie and I have both had a email from a fellow who was out of his home for 11 days last time, and they're beside themselves. So it's urgent that we work with other agencies and find a solution here. So if we could request that urgently, please, that would be really helpful.
Check it, yeah. David East.
On the sections of building consents and resource consents, a little concerning, I suppose, that 589 resource consents are on hold. And could it be provided, or it would be helpful if we could have a breakdown on whether these are at the request of the applicant, i.e., just sort of parking it, or the requiring further information. The same with the building consents one as well. And secondly, just a question, I suppose, item 3.2, how long is the name Ellerslie contracted to that event?
From memory, and I'm looking along here, from memory we have one, after this event it'll come back to council to make a decision on the future. I think that's right, so if it's not, I will correct myself via email, but I think that's where we're at. Yeah.
Sorry if I may, but just we have asked for a full review of the flower show to be done for the old council wanted to do it last year, but we thought with a new council and given you need a long lead time between events, we thought it was important to do it this year. So yeah, but I think the key point about Ellerslie actually is we did do some surveys last year about what people didn't like, and the staff and the organisers have been very hard-working into putting more gardens in and better quality exhibits. And I think I know from talking to staff, we are doing very well in terms of ticket sales, and people, I think it will be a much better event than it has been previously. That's certainly the feedback that I've had.
So I know that from my perspective, I think it's really important that process kick off straight away after the show. So what mechanism do we have in place to ensure that that happens?
It's coming back to the community committee.
I'm sure there'll be specifics, but certainly Jane can follow up the actual process of evaluation.
Yep.
So,
We'll
so
make sure
what would be really useful though is to have a reporting mechanism so that we formally kick off the process of the review as soon as the Ellerslie Flower Show is over. Because if it's not in the system at this level, then there isn't a timetable that we can put in place so that there's a report back to us.
It is in the system.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, I'll talk to you afterwards, but I think that what we need is to have it in this report, straight after the Ellerslie Flower Show, is to have the mechanism that is in place and the timetable for reporting back.
Okay.
Yep. Are there any other questions? Jimmy Chen?
Thank you. Two questions. The first one is 1.1, the Portal Hill, regarding to the how much council spent to date to pay out the Portal Hills. The council budget approved 434K. Whether cover all the residents affected by those rockfall.
Is your question, will that cover all the residents?
Yeah.
That's what council have budgeted, so if there's not enough, staff will have to come back and make a case to council.
Okay, so how many residents affected?
I can't answer that here.
Second question is regarding 2.1, the anchor project. Regarding to athletics track replacement, before the report to the council, whether this report will be presented to the community board first.
I think this comes directly to council.
I remember last time they went to the community
I'll
board.
follow up.
Then
find
have
out.
to amendment. So probably need to back to the community board first.
I'll follow up
To the
on that
council.
one.
Yeah, please follow up. Thank you.
Janne Johansson.
Thank you. Several questions, just two brief ones in terms of the major facilities. No mention of the Metro sports facility. I think we're contributing 150 million.
Sorry, what page?
Page 2. I think it's page 2. It's item 2, rebuild and recovery.
Yeah, okay.
We've never had a full briefing on it. I don't know when we're going to be involved in terms of design, scope, what activities.
This is
happen.
being Sarah-led.
There's a requirement because
Yes, I understand the requirement, but it's a Sarah-led project. What you're saying is that the Sarah-led project should be included in this report.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I think so, absolutely.
Yep.
But I also think we need to get some visibility of what's actually
I think it's got to be a separate item, like Sarah-led reports around the anchor projects. But it's a very good point. Thank you.
The second one, again, the Justice and Emergency Precinct. No idea.
Same. It's a Sarah-led.
It is.
No. But all I'm saying is that this report hasn't included the Sarah-led
Right.
anchor projects. You've made an exceptionally good point. The
Yep.
reports will include them in the
Great.
future. I've asked Jane to divide this report in future into two parts, and one part will come to the committee of the whole, and it will be focused specifically on the rebuild issues.
Yep.
And this report will be much more
Okay.
generic than that, so that we've got the oversight of what's
Great.
going on in the
Great,
council.
just because the branding at the Justice and Emergency Precinct has no mention of City Council, even though we
Yep,
contribute.
I understand.
Yep,
We understand
great.
the problems. Yep.
Just in terms of the rockfall, the area-wide mitigation that we've asked, how is progress going on that? I'm just really concerned that Sarah are ramping up the demolition process. We haven't been briefed on the demolitions, and they're potentially demolishing places that possibly with area-wide community-scale mitigation, we could actually save and have people living in houses. So have we got any time frame or any information about where we're at with that?
I know that the report is underway that you've requested. I'll come back to you with when it'll come in front of you.
Yeah, I can't emphasise how time critical it is given what Sarah...
Yeah, it says staff will arrange a briefing with Sarah's staff involved in this project. So that is going to happen soon. But
That's-
what you've asked
that's a
for is
timing thing.
a
Another
time.
So
Yeah.
There's the demolition stuff, which Sarah have ramped up and are
Yeah.
doing quickly. we passed a resolution to get some areas where we might do community-wide mitigation,
Yeah.
area-wide mitigation.
Yep,
Yeah.
Ideally, that should be done before the demolition starts.
yes, I agree.
And I hope in terms of our budget, we must have a huge cost saving with, I think, about 54 million that was tagged for rockfall of borrowing that we're not borrowing because we haven't paid. So I think it would be interesting to know, in terms of the first item, when we're expecting that process to conclude, and in this financial year, whether we're expecting any savings. I would have thought there should be some considerable savings. The final question I just had was on the after-hours call centre. Can you just remind me when that decision will be made? And, in terms of the Resilience City Network, I know that's a relatively new thing. Has that also been built into consideration? Things like the opportunity to have a resilient call centre in Canterbury or in Christchurch that could provide two services, if you like, that we, the Resilient City and also the local service. It just seems that, the rationale for Palmerston North was because we had earthquakes. When we needed to use it, they had an earthquake up there and it didn't actually help us. So I would have thought the idea in, being resilient, you would possibly have something a bit more local.
It's why EQC had its backup call centre in Brisbane, but they didn't think about floods happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
that is soon, isn't it?
From memory, I think it was March that we're looking at.
because
and pick
because-
up your points.
Yeah, I'm just worried that the decision will be made, but I would have thought the possibility, possibly, and again, we don't have the Justice and Emergency Precinct, possibly you'd look at an after-hours call centre when the new civil defence thing is going. Just an idea.
Yes.
Cool.
Good idea.
It's a very good idea. Ali Jones?
Please tell me
Oh,
if this...
sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you're right, Vicky. I just wanted to ask again on that same page, Rebuild and Recovery and the Performing Arts Precinct entry there. Just for clarification, has all the land been obtained for that? Is that basically ready to go? I just look engagement underway, architects engaged and so forth.
Can I ask my colleague to help?
So that is a Sarah issue at the moment, not a council issue?
Sarah's role to, CCU's role to secure the land, which they then give to council to perform our precinct.
Thank you.
I had just two quick issues, and I apologise to Jane, I should have let her know beforehand, but one is the item on the Litchfield Street car park, and I've been following this up as a result of a direct approach from some of the property owners in the area who are, dependent on the council delivering on its car parking. And so the matter is now urgent, and again there were comments in the paper this morning that reinforce that. That the problem, as I see it, is that the subsequent assessment, particularly of the Litchfield Street car park, has identified significant cost increases in terms of its repair. And so I really want to re-emphasise the urgency of this matter. And the second issue is that if the car park building can't be made available within a period of time this year, then by the time we get to the next summer season, with a number of car parks not available because building's going on, and that's a very good thing, and because of potential movements around the Restart Mall, alternative parking has to be made available to that area, and we really need a joined up report that brings both elements together, because it's two different arms of council that deal with the two different issues. Yeah. So we've got the facilities rebuild looking at the car park building, and we've got the parking space people dealing with the parking issue. So can I just urge that to be a joined up report? And I really believe that this is now so urgent that we need to have it reported back to the next council meeting with a position that we can resolve. It really has to come up with that degree of urgency. And there was a second issue, but that was the most important one. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Paul Lonsdale.
I just want to fully support that last statement around the car parking. I think it is actually critical for if we want to see a rebuild happen at a much faster pace than we're seeing currently at the moment.
Great. All right, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. Thank you, and thank you, Jane. It's a much better process having the report